Recording also. So in the name of, so let me first of all, in the name of Allah, the most merciful and the most compassionate. So as we studied today, that we are going to start from Microsoft Word. We said that Microsoft Word is a sophisticated word processing program. So if someone asks you, what is word processing program? So word processing program, so here is the definition. When you use a piece of software in order to create, edit, and format text documents, so you are performing basically a task. So this task is known as the word processing. For instance, you open Microsoft Word, you type in something, you edit that text, and you format it basically, and you save it. So it is basically you're performing a task. So this task is referred to as word processing task. So as we said, that Microsoft Word is a sophisticated word processing program. It means it is a piece of software through which you can create, edit, and format some sort of documents. So it is referred to as the word processing. So for this purpose, we say that it is word processing, it is the functionality. So how about the word processors? They are basically some programs which they perform word processing. It means I say, for instance, Microsoft Word is a word processor. It means Microsoft Word performs word processing functionality, which is the creation of documents, editing some documents, formatting some documents, and some other functionalities which we will be discussing. So shortly, Microsoft Word is a sophisticated word processing program. What is word processing? If someone asks you in an interview, so word processing is a piece of software in order to create, edit, format text documents. So it is referred to as the word processing. Word processor is a piece of software. Is a piece of program which performs this word processing functionality. So these are some examples of word processors which are very common nowadays. It is Microsoft Word. The most used one in the world is this Microsoft Word from the Microsoft Corporation. We have the latest, we have the Word Pro, we have Word Perfect, we have Word Start. So these are some basically some word processing programs or word processors. So as you know that Microsoft Word is the most famous one, the most common one. So for this purpose, we are going to study this word processing program. So here is another definition for Microsoft Word. You can use this one. So it is a piece of software through which you can quickly and efficiently order, format, publish all sorts of documents, personal or business documents. So it is also referred to as the Microsoft Word. It is a piece of software through which you can quickly and efficiently order, format, and publish all sorts of business and personal documents. So it is also referred to as the Microsoft Word. So these are some standard features of word processing programs. Please go through them, and we are going to study just some of them. For instance, we will be talking about for instance, we have this one, which is a part of your syllabus, the mail merge. We will be talking about this one. We will be talking about the tables, which are basically part of your syllabus. So prior to getting started with Microsoft Word, first of all, we should be familiar with the interface or environment of Microsoft Word. So let's do this one practically. So I'm going to share. So I have to tell you that it is your course syllabus. In your course syllabus, here we got advanced features of Microsoft Word, which we will be studying the tables in Microsoft Word, typing and moving within the tables, okay, selecting the tables, resizing the tables, and inserting and deleting rows and columns of the table, drawing toolbar through which we can draw some tables. We will be talking about the hyperlinks, we will be talking about the mail merge, and also the templates. So these are basically part of your syllabus. We first cover these important points. So first of all, when you open Microsoft Word, so first of all, you should have some information about the environment of Microsoft Word. So here, this part, here we have the title bar. This part of Microsoft Word is referred to as the title bar. So I'm going to write it. So here is the title bar. This title bar basically contains, it is basically the name of the active document. Name of the active document. It is the name of the active document. So can you see this one? It is basically,
Yes.
yeah, it is the name of the active document. By active document, it means the documents that we are currently working on. So it is referred to as the document. So if you save it, so I'm going to save this document. For instance, I'm going to save it in this PC, for instance, the desktop. I'm going to give it the name. For instance, I say MS Word. So here choose the correct type of the document, which is docx, which is document. X stands for 2000. It means it is the latest version of the Microsoft Word. So I'm going to store it on the desktop. So here, save it. So here it is the name of the document, which is MS Word, and it is the extension, and it is the name of the program. It means name of the program. So it is, they are basically part of this title bar. Okay. Then they then at this we have these buttons. They are called the caption buttons. They are called caption buttons. It is the minimize button. We have the maximize button. We have the cancel button. So here, and here is another button. This one is known as the ribbon display options. Ribbon display option. So this button. So if you want to change, basically if you want to minimize it or maximize it or close it, you use these buttons. For instance, I want to minimize it, so it will go to the taskbar. Uh, so if you want to maximize it, you use this button. It is for the close. So if you want to change the configuration of this ribbon, so you might choose auto hide. For instance, the ribbons will be behind it, basically the ribbons and also the tabs. So you can also if you want to show only the tabs, so here are the tabs, only the tabs. When you click upon a specific tab, so a ribbon will display. So if you want both of them, the tabs and also the commands, the ribbons, you should choose this option, which is show tabs and also the commands. I prefer this way. So based on your requirement, you can choose the configuration for yourself. So it was the name of the document, name of the program, These are the caption buttons, the minimize, the maximize, and the cancel button. We have the ribbon display option. So at this site, which is not part of the title bar, so it is referred to as the quick access toolbar. We have this one is not part of the title bar. We call it quick access toolbar. Quick access toolbar. So the quick access toolbar basically contains some most used commands. So the commands that you use most of the time. So here you uh, build a mini toolbar and you put all those commands on that toolbar. So we can, so for this purpose, we say the quick access toolbar, because all the commands which are within the quick access toolbar, you can access them quickly. So for instance, I want to uh, customize it. For instance, the new button. So here is the new button. So you can bring the open, for instance. You can, for instance, the email. I need these commands most of the time. For instance, draw table. If some commands are not available here, so here is another command, which is the touch and mouse. If you are using a touch computer screen, then you choose this one. For instance, you can change the configuration. You can turn it into touch, which you will get a lot of spaces in between the commands. For instance, the bold italic. So there is a lot of space in between because of the touch. And you can, if you're using a mouse, not a touch screen, you use the mouse one. So based on your requirement, you choose you tick some commands. If you don't need, you simply check off the commands. For instance, I don't need the email, so you simply check it off. Draw toolbar, you can check it off. But if some commands are not present here, so you can go to more commands. You can further customize your quick access toolbar. For instance, more commands. So you can put some other commands, all the popular commands, or you can choose all the commands. For instance, for Microsoft Word, here we got a bunch of commands which you can choose based on your requirement. For instance, insert command, I need this one most of the time. You simply add here. For instance, insert drawing, so I need it. So I click OK, so they will appear here. So now I can access them quickly. So for this purpose, this toolbar, it is referred to as the quick access toolbar. And you can change the position of this one. We said that it is not part of the title bar. You can show it below the ribbon. Now it is below this ribbon. This is referred to as the ribbon, which contains some commands. So this portion, it is a ribbon. So it is the below ribbon. You can show it above the ribbon. So based on your requirement, you can choose the configuration. If you don't need anything, you simply check it off. You simply check it off. So here. So the next part is we have these tabs. We have the tabs. So these are referred to as the tabs. We have the home tab, insert tab, design tab, layout tab, for instance, the mailing, the review. So these are referred to as the tab. When you click a particular tab, a ribbon will display. A ribbon will display. So the ribbon basically contains some groups. So these are referred to as the groups. We have the clipboard group, we have the fun group, we have the paragraph group, we have the style group, we have the editing group. So it means subgroup commands, subgrouped commands. So it means when you click a particular tab, so I click, for instance, the home tab, so a ribbon showed up. So it is referred to as the ribbon. The ribbon will contain these subgroup commands. So it is the clipboard subgroup commands, which contain the paste, cut, copy, and format painter, We have another subgroup commands, which are the bold, italic, and some other uh, uh, related commands, which are under the category of the fonts. We have another subgroup commands, which are, for instance, we have left align, we have the center, we have the right. For instance, you can change the uh, direction of the text, left to right, right to left, based on your requirement. You can also choose the shading for your document. So these are basically some subgroup commands. Subgroup commands, this is the clipboard, the font, the paragraph, the style, and the editing. These are referred to as the subgroup commands. Inside these subgroup commands, we have a bunch of commands, related commands. These are related to clipboard. We have cut, copy, for instance. These are related. For font subgroup commands, we have some related commands. For instance, the bold, italic. These are all regarding the fonts. So this portion, if you want to access the full commands, so it is the dialog box launcher. It is the dialog box launcher. Dialog box launcher. If you want to access the full commands, so here is not the full commands, only the most used commands will appear here on the ribbon. But if you want to access the full commands, you click upon this dialog box launcher. It is referred to as this mini button is referred to as the dialog box launcher. You click upon the dialog box launcher, you can access full commands regarding the font. So here we got the font, we have the advanced, all the commands basically. So next we have these are the ribbons, we studied them. So number 4, here we have the ruler bar, horizontal and vertical ruler bar. So these are the horizontal and vertical ruler bar, خطکش افقی و عمودی. So if this horizontal or vertical ruler bar is not showing, you can go to view. So we have the ruler here. You can check it off. You can check it on. It is very simple. So then we have these are referred to as the scroll bars. We have the horizontal and vertical scroll bars. Horizontal and vertical scroll bars. So here, if you want to go to different locations of your document, you can choose these scroll bars basically. So this is referred to as the status bar. This is referred to as the status bar. A status bar, what is this one? It shows more information about your document. It shows more information about your document. More information, for instance, the section, the page number, the line number. For instance, I'm standing here, the cursor, so it is in line 9 basically. If you go there, for instance, it is line 4. These are the total number of words within your document and the language basically. So you can check it on, check it off based on your requirement. If you don't want this section, so here is, we have this section. If you want to check it off, so it will go off your screen. So if you want to bring it back, so you can check it on. So if you don't need the word count, for instance, here is the word count, for instance, 69 words. If you don't want them, so you simply check it off. If you want to bring it back, check it on. So based on your requirement, you can customize it. Okay. So this is referred to as zoom slider bar. It is referred to as the zoom slider bar. Zoom slider bar. You can zoom in or zoom out your document through this zoom slider bar. So it was some important information about what we can say the interface of Microsoft Word. The interface, by the interface, it means the environment of the Microsoft Word. So, so now let's talk about the tables, which are part of your syllabus, the first element. Uh, so let's begin, guys. We start from the tables. From the tables. So first of all, I'm going to put some entries. For instance, I have the ID number. Then I'm going to use a tab, for instance, here. We have ID number, we have employee name, for instance, and I use another tab here. I say the salary. And I put some data here. For instance, the employee ID is 1. The employer name is Ali. The salary is 45,000, for instance. We have this second employee. Name is Khan, for instance. It is 75,000 Afghanis, for instance. We have the third employee. The name will be Faisal, for instance. The salary will be 56,000 Afghanis. So basically, if you have the data like this one, so you cannot basically perform some data analysis functionalities in Microsoft Word, or you cannot basically apply some formatting, some beautiful and nice formatting. So if you want to turn this data, basically it is the data, and you want to convert it into tables. So we have the options. So I have used simply the tabs. Okay. So, but if you want to convert it into tables, in order to convert this data into some organized way, so you use the tables. So for this purpose, click upon the insert tab. So we have the tables. So here is the option, convert text to table. It is the most useful one if you want to convert some text. So these are the text. Basically, I'm going to convert it into table. So I simply select this one. So what is the number of the columns? So it is automatically mentioned here. It is the 3 number of columns we have. So I click upon the OK. So that text converted into what we can say the tables. Now let's talk about so when you select a table for the first time, so here 2 tabs will appear. So we call these tabs as the contextual tabs. The contextual tabs. So what are those contextual tabs? So they appear when you use some for instance, the table. For the table, we have the table contextual tabs. If you are using, for instance, the images, so here I'm going to insert some shapes, for instance. If I drag this shape, for instance, draw this shape, uh, a format contextual tab will appear. So it is referred to as the contextual tab. Based upon the context, a tab will open. So for this purpose, we call them as the contextual tab. So here is the context. Here is those what we can say images, but here the context is the table. So it will be changed automatically. We have the design and the layout. But for the shapes, we have another context. So here the commands are different. So for this purpose, we call them as the contextual tabs. Based upon a specific context, some commands will appear. So here the context is stable, so it will be automatically changed. So here, for instance, we have the design and layout. If you check the commands, they are totally different as compared to as this one. So check it, they are different. So for this purpose, we call them as the contextual tabs. So now guys, let's talk about those contextual tabs which appear here. So here you can apply some styles to these tables. For instance, I prefer this style. You can choose different styles based upon your requirement. You can modify this particular, or you can clear all the formatting from it, or you can create a new one. So I choose this one. So here the style will be applied. So the header row, if you don't want the header row, you simply check it off here. So the first row, it is referred to as the header row. It is the header of our table. If you don't want the header row, you simply uncheck it. So the total row, this is referred at the end we have a row. It is referred to as the total row. For instance, if you want to here specify the total numbers, for instance, I say I'm going to merge these two with each other. From here we have the option merge. For instance, I say the total. I'm going to apply some formula from here. So here, for instance, I go back here to the design tab. I say the total row. I want the total row. So it is referred to as the total row. So here, so there will be distinguished. So these row will be distinguished from the other rows through this one, through this total row. So a bit designing will apply. Okay, it will show you that this row is the total row for you. Banded rows, so these are referred to as the banded rows. If you don't want the banded rows, so you can check it on or check it off. So I want these banded rows. First column, so it is referred to as the first column. If you uncheck it, so you see the difference. The numbers will be unbolded. So I say I want them. The last column, so it is referred to as the last column. If you want to apply some formattings here, you can do it. Last column. Banded columns, so these are basically the designing, so it is referred to as the banded columns. So I say I don't want the banded columns here. So the next one is the shading. If you don't like the color of this one, for instance, this row, you can simply choose a new one. For instance, for Rana University, we use the red color. For instance, I prefer this one. Nice and clean, okay? So you can, based on your requirement, you can choose all what we can say the shadings of this table, for instance. The shading, the background of that particular table. So if you want to change, for instance, the borders, so here you can choose the border type. So here you can choose the border type. For instance, I prefer this one, the border type. Okay, choose it and choose the color. For instance, I prefer the white one. Okay, then you can draw it like this, or like this. Okay, like this, for instance, like this. But if you want to apply in the whole table, so you simply first of all select the entire table. So here you select the table, and you choose all the borders. So here you choose the type of the border. For instance, I prefer this one. So here you can choose the thickness of the border. For instance, the thickness, I prefer this amount of thickness of the border. And here you can choose the color of the border. For instance, I choose this color, the black color. So then you can apply it through the border painter, or you can choose this all border. which is this one. But I change the color. I prefer this white one, and I apply the all borders like this. So hope the concept is clear. So now let's talk about it was all regarding the designing of the table. If you want to design a table, so you can choose it based on your requirement, or you can select it like this, for instance. And then you can apply the borders. For instance, I change for instance, the color. Then I apply all borders here. Okay, for all of them you can implement the same one. Okay, based on your requirement. So another contextual tab, which when you click upon, so if you click here, so that contextual tab will disappear. If you click back upon the table, that two contextual tab, the first one we have stayed this one. So the next one is the layout. So now let's talk about this layout contextual tab for tables, which is this one. So first of all, if you want to select a cell, for instance, you are standing here, your cursor is here. So you simply select a cell, for instance, if you want to select the entire cell. So if you want to select the entire column, so here, it is the entire column that you selected. If you are standing here, your cursor is right here. You can also choose, select the row, the entire row. If you can, for instance, if you don't have, if you're, if you want to select all the rows, you can also do it like this, or you can come here, select the entire row for you. Select the entire table. So it's very simple. Okay. So view grid lines. If you don't have any, for instance, any borders, for instance, I prefer like this one. If you don't have the borders, for instance, I choose it from here. For instance, let's check this one. So this table doesn't have any borders. So if you go to layout, I say view grid lines or don't view the grid lines. So these are referred to as the grid lines. They will show you the boundaries, basically the boundary of this cell and the starting of another cell, or the columns basically. So these are referred to as the grid lines. So if you don't have the grid lines, then you can say that it is a table. It will be difficult. So I say I need those uh, grid lines, and also I'm going to press Ctrl Z to return to that part again. So now let's talk about this table properties. So the table properties, basically the tables, we will be studying all these options right here. We have regarding the rows, regarding the columns, regarding the cells. All these commands are here basically. So we will be studying each and every one. So we have another command known as the draw table, through which you can draw a particular table. For instance, here you can draw a particular table. So first of all, change the color of the pen. For instance, I prefer this one, for instance. So let's check it now. For instance, here we have a table. So these are the number of columns, for instance. So based on your requirement, you can do it. Okay. So it is the drawing toolbar. So I'm going to add another row, for instance, from here. So based on your requirement, you can do it. You have seen the shapes like these, the tables. If some students are haven't taken the midterm examination, we say that they are absent, like this. So based on your requirement, you can use this drawing toolbar. If you don't need a table, so you simply, uh, for instance, I don't need this one. For instance, I'm going to just erase it. It is the eraser. So, so again, I want to delete this particular table. So I simply go and I select the entire table and I say delete. What do you want to delete? I want to delete the entire table here. So that's it. So again, I go to layout. So here we have some other options. If you want to delete a particular cell, so you simply delete it. So that particular cell will be deleted. Again, if you want to delete a specific column, so you can do it also. Control Z. I don't want this column, so you simply go to delete column. Simply. If you want to delete a particular table, just simply delete the table. Control Z. Hope the concept is clear, guys. So now let's talk about the how to insert some rows and columns. So here we can do it also. It is very simple. I want to insert. What do you want to insert? So a row has been inserted. Insert a row. Insert below, for instance, below this one. Here is facial, for instance. I want to insert a row below the facial, for instance. Here, you can do it. Insert column to the left. Okay, so it is also possible. It is a column to the left. If you want to insert a column to the right, so it is very simple, column to the right. So it is likely that you will need these operations when you design